This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Good morning and welcome to Canada Reads American Style, Canada Reads 2026 Day 2. This is Tara. I am here with Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, I am back from my little mini vacation, and I just want to give a shout out to Tara, who did something that I would not do, and she did a fabulous job, which is she did Canada Reads Day 1 by herself in an Instagram Live, and I thought she did a brilliant job. I know you're getting lots of compliments for it. You did super job, and I was watching it thinking, oh, hell no. I could never do that on my own. Never. So kudos to you for doing an awesome job. So everybody go to see Tara's account at Anna Branch Reads on Instagram and watch her live to get her content from yesterday.
Yeah, thank you. So that's Day 1. Do you have anything to say about Day 1?
The only thing I really want to say is I'm really mad that Foe went out on the first day, because Foe was the book that I was really promoting. After I read, I only read 3 because I couldn't get a minor chorus, which I'll talk about in a minute. But of the 3 that I read, I really liked Searching for Terry Punchout, but I also understand the weight of it versus Foe, which just really was a fantastic read. And it made you work a little bit, but I absolutely loved it. And so I'm not going to lie, I was really mad yesterday. You know how you said that Quinn kind of told you to don't be so dramatic. I felt his words to me as well, because I was doing the same thing. So anyway, that's all I want to say about yesterday.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so let's Day 1. We're going to move with Day 2. Do we want to start with overall feelings, or do you want to start from the beginning, work our way through? How do you want to do it?
I think let's just put it out there in terms of kind of how we feel. So I'll let you go first, since I just did a whole thing about Foe. How did you feel about how it ended? Oh, which of course, everybody, spoilers. So don't listen if you haven't watched the show yet.
Yeah, good idea. Okay. Now, if you've removed yourself, if you don't want to hear spoilers, I'm flippin' bummed yet again today. Again, in the best possible way, because it's a book competition, and I'm so happy that we're discussing books and we get to feel like this. So it's amazing that this is what's bumming me out today.
Yeah.
But God damn it. Sorry, excuse my language. A minor chorus. We said goodbye to A Minor Chorus by Billy-Ray Belcourt today.
I'm a little more upset than you are, and I didn't even read the book. But here's what was amazing is that the way that you had said earlier before the competition started that you hadn't read the romance and that you wanted to be convinced to read it. I was kind of like that with Minor Chorus, even though I had a hold on at the library and I couldn't get it. She just absolutely, Elle-Máijá Tailfeathers, girl, you crushed it today and made me want to read Minor Chorus. And I already put my hold on at the library. Cannot wait to read it. And knowing from what everybody has said, the beginning is going to be maybe a little more challenging to read, but she energized me to want to read that book.
That's amazing. Conversely, I have still yet to be convinced to read It's Different This Time. In fact, I think I have had my feelings confirmed that I do not want to read it, because of the 5 panelists, I most align, I think, with Tegan and Elle-Máijá in terms of reading.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of them liked it. They were still being nice about it, but they did not like that book, I don't think. So, yeah. So I have not been convinced, but I'm super happy for you.
Okay. Well, I don't know where we go from here, because I know I have a lot of feelings about stuff.
I know. Well, let's start from the beginning. The beginning.
You lead us a little bit.
Okay. Here. So in the pre-show intros, so even before they started the debate, they do a little pre-show intros on the CBC Books YouTube. And they had a little blurb of Morgann saying that It's Different This Time is changing challenging the narrative. That's all they showed her saying, is challenging the narrative. I think she'd said it yesterday. My question was, what narrative, and will she address this? She actually did. So I will say kudos to her. She did address that in later on in her round.
Yeah.
And so we can discuss that then. But I was like, I did. That was my first thing. I'm like, what narrative? What narrative is this book challenging? So the format, 4 rounds, and essentially each panelist defending their book. So round 1 was Tegan. I didn't find that Tegan really said anything new.
Yeah.
They described it as literary enough to be challenging, but not alienating, which I thought then, I'm like, oh, is she going for a minor chorus? Like, is that like a little dig at a minor chorus? But I think it was, to be honest, but
Mm-hmm.
not in a way that because in the final vote, Tegan did not vote against a minor chorus. So I'm not sure what the point of that was.
Yeah, I didn't think that Tegan said it, because I was trying to keep notes and she didn't say anything that stood out to me in any big way. So that to me was like, okay, yeah, it was just a little, didn't really stand out.
Yeah. I think the most notable thing that happened in this round, so Tegan went first, and then Ali moved to Josh for his thoughts. And Josh was far too complimentary about the book and didn't say anything like critical. So then Ali very pointedly, when he moved on to Elle-Máijá, said, what don't you like about The Cure for Drowning? So I liked that Ali saw that where it was going. He was like, no, we got to shut that shit down. Like, we're here to debate and not give compliments all around.
Yeah. That stood out to me because then I thought maybe I missed the way Ali worded the question to them, but you're right. And I did like Elle-Máijá. I thought that was interesting. One of her points was it was familiar historical fiction because the magic realism didn't go in kind of deep enough, although she did really like the book, obviously. But she said it's kind of familiar historical fiction through kind of a white lens. And so that stood out for me on her comment.
Yeah, they all seem to really feel that the magic realism didn't go enough for them. They seem to want more from the magic realism.
Yeah. But you know what Tegan said that I thought was interesting? I don't know if she said it this way, but this is how I took it. It was almost like that the character, through that situation where she's drowning, is sort of reborn and comes out and I thought she needed to hit that point, because when I was reading it, I wasn't thinking of it that way.
Okay.
And I love that was a rebirth, because that's what water like almost always represents in a book, right? But it didn't connect for me, and I wish she had kind of hit that more and really played that out. Maybe she will in later, well, tomorrow or whatever. But I love that because then it kind of gave me a different perspective of just that hint of magic realism at the beginning and maybe a little at the end. Then I'm like, oh, good with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that she still really is sticking to this romance storyline for The Cure for Drowning. I want to see Tegan bring out more of the identity of it behind the book as well, moving forward. You know?
What do you mean exactly?
Oh, in terms of like Kit finding their identity.
Oh, I see.
And coming to terms with like their queerness, and the family coming to terms with it, and even Rebecca coming to terms with her queerness.
And I think that's the issue I have with the book. I recognize why people love it so much, but that's what I think I didn't get enough. It felt just very romance centric to me. And I didn't feel the depth of the emotion of the characters as much through the story. And that's why for me, it just kind of read like a romance. And I didn't feel that depth of character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That is interesting because until Canada Reads, and it was kind of described as like almost like a historical romance or fiction and a romance story, I did not think of it as a romance story. Like I thought of it as like a queer identity in a historical fiction with a love story. And for me,
Yeah.
there is like a difference between a love story and a romance.
Yeah.
And I never, until Canada Reads, would have described this as a romance.
Yeah. And I think, but then it's kind of interesting because what you're saying falls towards my side of it, which is that if she's kind of promoting it like a romance versus that queer identity and that all those characters and where they would have been at that time and how they evolved. Yeah, she hasn't really touched on that yet.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I don't know, do you think there's a possibility she's trying to, because the romance even now is now 2 days into the competition, do you think maybe she's trying to go like, well, here I have a romance, but my romance has more added layers to it, and it's more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit of her strategy. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be setting up for like day 3, going against the romance. That's what I want to see less. So that's interesting. I want to see Tegan talk less about the romance
Yeah,
and get into the nitty gritty of the book.
yeah.
So let's see. Okay, round 2, moving on, is Morgann, and it's different this time. And this is where Morgann she answered the question for me about challenging the narrative. She said that it challenges the narrative of success and what makes a good life. So thank you, Morgann, for answering the question for me. Then she used the term sex positive again. I don't know. I think I have a different definition of sex positive than Morgann. I think she's using it to mean that it's light on the sex, and therefore more people will be comfortable with the sex. And I did put emphasis on that word comfortable. I think that's what she's using it as. I use the term sex positive to mean we're throwing all kinds of different sex at you, maybe not all at the same time, but we're going to throw like maybe some like non-heteronormative sex at you in a way that's positive. Like not as in, oh my God, are we throwing this at you? But as in, hey, people have all types of sex. That's what I take sex positive as. Not as in, we're going to keep it nice and light so you're not disturbed by the amount of sex in this book.
And I see it different than that.
Do you? Okay.
Here's how I see it though.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give a disclaimer. I've said this 100 million times, but if you're new to our podcast or whatever, I grew up reading a ton of romances, read so many that I was burned out. I am permanently burned out because I'm older now and I just don't want to read romances. However, I like romance in a story, but not a romance. Because Elle-Máijá said it has conventional gender norms, outdated ideas of gender and sex, formulaic, and that is why I don't read romances. Now,
Yeah.
This is how I think she thinks she is saying sex positive. I don't think if I told her how I think she's saying it, she would disagree with me. But I think she means white, straight sex.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. I do. The thing that really bugged me yesterday and then also today is this constant emphasis that the main character's Filipina identity is just it's not performative. And I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry. Does that mean we are who we are? And I'm not saying that she has to have like traditional clothes on and doing whatever the holidays are and that kind of thing.
And draped
that
in
would
a flag.
Be yeah, that would be performative. But she is who she is, and I find that I'm just going to say it. I felt really offended by that. I just am like, why can't she be who she is? Why do you have to clean it up, so to speak, for your readers? And when she said about the average reader, I think she means, because she kind of said it, she meant herself, young white readers. That's how I felt.
Yeah. She said a few things that I was like, I questioned a couple of things here.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, when she said that a lot of readers were connecting with the Filipina culture not being at the forefront, I questioned who those readers were.
Right.
Who she's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elle-Máijá went first. Oh, wait, before I get to that, still in Morgann's comments,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very smart. She referred to Steve's comments from yesterday that he related to June. I thought that was very smart to bring another panelist's relationship with the book in her opening ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have written in my notes, in large, bold letters, Steve used this against her. And if he does not use this statement against her, he didn't today, but he didn't really, there wasn't an opportunity. Because yesterday she said that she couldn't connect with Searching for Terry Punchout because she's not male,
Oh,
she
yeah.
doesn't like hockey, and she hasn't been to the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast, people. I found it slightly. I was annoyed by that as well. But anyways, and then that's when Steve did pull, like, he played the upper hand and was like, well, actually, I relate it very well to June in her experience. So she has now used Steve against him. I want him to use this against her if she should come at Terry Punchout for that same reason tomorrow. Please, Steve, please use it against her.
Steve, pay attention and listen
Be
to
listening. Use it against her.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh, I think did you want to touch on the fact also that Morgann made a comment about you don't need to learn from every book?
Yes. That was next, because Elle-Máijá struggled with she didn't seem to really like the book. She called it a conventional coming of age, formulaic, that it doesn't challenge everything that Rebecca has said, and that she didn't learn anything from the book. In which Morgann then replied, you don't need to learn from every book. And the look on Elle-Máijá's face at this point was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that moment, Elle-Máijá.
Yep.
She then responded that she meant it's more than just learning like a fact or something, but emotional knowledge. And then she brought in, she did bring in Elle-Máijá was the one who brought in the Canadian setting, that being, that maybe, do we really need to center another geographical location outside of Canada at this moment? It's not an argument that I hold against a book not to be set in Canada, but Elle-Máijá was bringing everything she had.
Yeah, but I did like Morgann. That's the one thing she said that I actually really liked, where I wrote it down. She said, being Canadian doesn't stop at the border. And the reality is our countries are physically locked together, right? So, Canadian actors and musicians and creatives are here all the time because there are perhaps better opportunities or a larger number of opportunities here than in Canada.
I have that too. Yeah. Any more there? I think that was... Oh, yeah, Tegan was she was not critical. Tegan really doesn't want to critique too much, although did say that the story was too convenient. And, quote, I did like this, a good entry point for people who don't read that often. So, applause for her there.
Yeah. She said it in a way that, I don't know. Anyway, there's that whole push-pull between, is Canada Reads for readers or non-readers, right? There's that big push-pull all the time. So, yeah.
Now, in my notes after this round, I have my prediction at this point. I even wrote this down. I said, bye-bye. It's different this time in my notes. I'm like, this book's gone.
Yeah.
But
I thought so too. And even I think kind of even at the end, I think I was still thinking that, and I was so shocked by the vote, but yeah.
Then we moved to pep talks, in which each panelist had a little celebrity pep talk. So from Tegan, we had Max Kerman of the Arkells, which I'm going to put out there for a future panelist on Canada Reads. I would not be surprised to see him. Morgann, Julia Whalen. That was whatever. Elle-Máijá had Michael Greyeyes, so it was just nice to hear his voice again.
Yeah, I agree.
But the highlight of this was Ron MacLean talking to Steve, who referred to himself as a dangling participle during his experience on Canada Reads. but Steve was a participating Dangle. That
Yeah,
was
that was cute. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, that was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to start us on round 3?
No, because I think your notes are better than mine.
Okay.
I can't listen and write at the same time, so I'll let
Okay,
you go
because I
keep
feel
going.
like you just jump in. I don't want to like
Okay.
dominate too much here.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so round 3 was Elle-Máijá defending a minor chorus. And oh yeah, I like the way she did this. She got brought in quotes from Billy-Ray Belcourt about writing is fundamentally a social act. She quoted Toni Morrison, and I know.
Yep.
And addressed the critique of the language. So, because she knew that was coming, that the use of language in a minor chorus would be critiqued, and talking about anti-intellectualism in our current day culture.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I want to just bring this in because this is the point at which Canada Reid spoke to me today
Okay.
in this moment. So I know there's that big push pull. Like I said, there's always this thing about do you want to promote it to get more non-readers reading, to people who don't watch the show? Is it do you want to go more popular titles, genre titles versus sort of literary fiction? I know that there's that big push pull, and I will say this: I do think that sometimes the argument becomes very uh, mean spirited, and that people who love literary fiction sometimes are kind of like not very nice to the people who maybe don't prefer literary
Mm-hmm.
fiction, and that I'm not saying that. Me personally, I love this competition so much, and I want them to bring stuff to me that I wouldn't pick up on my own and that challenges me, because that's the kind of reading I like to do. Not always. I read a lot of light stuff too. I read kids books, right? But this is what I love about the competition. So my thing is, I love this argument because you had two books, Foe and A Minor Chorus, that people said they had to work too hard to read, right? And I don't know where Cure for Drowning falls in there, because I do think it's accessible, but I don't think I think it sort of straddles the line between, the other two that are more simple, Terry Punchout and the romance. So I feel like when she made this argument, that's when I said, okay, I've got to admit, I want the stuff that's a little more, that challenges me a little bit more. That's what I want. And how does this competition go forward? Because when you get to this point, you do have people saying like, oh, it was too hard, or oh, this is too accessible. Now you've got a competition that I don't know, like where is the line going to be? It's sort of like having it's like a beauty competition for fruit, but all the fruits are different instead of all apples. You're looking at all apples and you go, which is the best apple in the group, versus like you have pomegranates and blah 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 whatever. So I just sort of feel that's maybe a stupid analogy, but the point is that I feel like I don't know which way Canada Reads wants to go, and I don't know that they yet know where they want to go. Or maybe I'm overstating it and it's always been this push pull. But I think this romance, the fact that it's gotten 2 days into it, is shocking to me. I'm sorry. And I know, again, I haven't read it. And I've heard from people who said that, oh no, it's more nuanced and layered and blah, blah, blah. I get that. But I just I don't know. I'm still shocked that two really amazing books have gone out of the competition. We see it sometimes where the first one really sort of like stellar one that goes out, we're shocked. We've had 2 days, two of the top books are going out.
Yeah. And
So
the reason seems to be because they're too difficult, that they're
right,
challenging. Because I love genre. I don't read a lot of romance, but I do read some romance, but I read all the other genres, and I read literary. So I love having the different genres represented in Canada Reads. But there does seem to be like now we're at a point where now we're voting stuff out because it's too difficult to read. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that.
yeah.
You know?
Would you rather have it be the way it is, where you've got a mix of genre and a mix of maybe literary fiction, or would you like to see it kind of go one way or the other? Not saying that it can't be one year all like more genre stuff, like horror and sci-fi, and like throwing that into the mix.
Hmm.
And I know this is a bigger question, but anyway, that's kind of where I was at as soon as LMI said that. I just thought, okay, now this was the reason I signed on with Canada Reads in the first place, was you were giving me titles that were like going to challenge me a little bit, make me think, and make me, after it's over, keep talking about it. And the truth is, lighter stuff doesn't do that in the same way,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's face it. You and I talked about Foe, had a big conversation. I've talked to other friends about Foe. That generated a lot of discussion afterwards. So
Yeah, I don't know where I stand on it. It's a difficult one
yeah,
because Josh again said how beautiful he thought the book was, but he wasn't that. I've quoted here like language didn't serve the message. That's paraphrase kind of thing.
yeah,
Oh, I did love Elle-Máijá said that the history of BIPOC characters being written as anti-intellectual, and to then have this book in which a BIPOC narrator is so intellectual, how
yep.
important that was to her, that she felt seen, heard, and celebrated, I
Hmm.
thought was a beautiful argument for this book, actually.
Yeah, in fact, I made a note of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because as soon as she said, because she used the word poetic and intellectual, and I thought, that's when I started to think, uh-oh. Yesterday we had a book that went out because it was too hard, and now you've thrown a bomb into the works by flat out going poetic and intellectual.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then Morgann threw her thoughts in to a minor chorus that it was she had a hard time getting into the book, a lack of quotation marks messed with her.
Can I just say one thing about the quotation marks? Remember small game hunting? That had no quotation marks. And I remember when that book came out, or it was on the show, the people who just said, I can't read it, I can't make sense of it, or whatever. And I said to so many people, because I read it, it was the last of the 5 that I read, and I told everyone, stick with it. This is an amazing story. I loved that book so much. And there's a challenge to just say, don't just dismiss it or say, oh gosh, it doesn't have quotation marks, therefore, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I was like, okay, okay. Then, then, this is when Morgann shook me. When she said that a minor chorus felt surface level. Excuse me. I'm,
Yep.
I am sorry, but that is the most bogus piece of shit for a
Yep.
criticism of this book.
Yeah. Yeah.
CBC is not going to be reposting her.
I know. I already said the F word, so
Yeah.
yeah.
In which point then, Elle-Máijá, I feel like your critique is actually surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Elle-Máijá.
It was funny because I think I literally went, whoa, like out loud when she said that. But I love that she said it because it's kind of like a few years ago. I know I keep bringing these up, but I can't think of the guy that has the chocolate.
Oh,
It's
Tariq? Tariq?
Tariq Haddad. Yeah. 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 And I think he just got caught up in the drama of it because they even use it, his blurb at the beginning of this year's show where he said, "Oh, it's this and that," and he was very like sadly critical of Washington Black. I'll never forget that's what it was.
That's right.
And I think he said it in the moment and he didn't mean it because the next day he came back and he apologized and everything. But I think there's that dance they have to walk, right, on the show, which is that these are all great books,
Yeah.
but you do have to find a way to criticize them. But sometimes it's like you cannot, and I haven't read it yet, but I've read so many reviews and I get it, that I think a minor chorus could never be called surface level, like on any level. And maybe she'll come back and no, I don't think so because she got slammed after she said it. So yeah,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah. And then Morgann did respond, but she sounded angry, which is fine. I get
Yeah,
it's a very emotional, because I mean, look at us. We're not even involved in the debate. We're not having to defend a book,
yeah,
and we are very emotional right now.
yeah,
So I totally get Morgann for sounding angry, and I don't blame her. I would probably be the same way.
yeah.
But then she just quote, that's when the average reader, her average reader quote came into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I just have written battle question mark.
Yeah.
Or not question mark, sorry,
Yeah.
exclamation point.
And I do think I will say this again as an older white woman, I think when we use average reader, she did say she was referring to herself,
Yeah.
right? That she's the average reader. But I do think we have to I think we have to recognize when we say things like that, the world has changed, and sometimes we can't make those sweeping sort of statements anymore because the world is dramatically different than it was,
Yeah.
you know, maybe when I was her age or I don't know, however many years ago. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, in the heat of the moment too, like, I'm not holding anything against anyone that says anything. They've said it, but it's also it's a very special circumstance, and
Yeah.
where it's live too, where you can't like
Take it back.
really backtrack or take it back or anything, right? Like it's not an easy position that these people are in, but it is super entertaining at times.
I agree, and I also think, this is why I could never be on a show well, yeah, I could never be on a show like Canada Reads because it's hard enough to do a podcast because you do wanna be mindful that sometimes the things you say, you don't mean them the way they come out,
Yeah.
and you're just like, nothing I can do now because now it's out there," right?
Yeah.
And we've all seen everybody get blown up for different things or whatever, and sometimes it's hard because we can't make everybody happy.
No.
And
No.
I agree with you. And I could never do this live show this way,
No.
where you have to debate. And oh my God, there's just no way. Hmm.
There was a moment yesterday when I with Josh, when I totally get it when Foe was voted out and the
Hmm.
camera went to him and he just went, "Oh, thank God." Like like you could just see that he was like he's upset, he's disappointed the book is gone, but he was just like, there's one huge weight like I'm like,
Yeah,
I see you, Josh, and I totally get that. Like I'm like, I
that's
get
too
it.
funny. That's too
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was a wonderful moment. Okay. I actually think that so round 4 we move on to Steve and his book, and I actually think I don't think it was not planned this way, although maybe they did plan it when they figured out the seat charting on the table. Because it was a great way to like kind of release the tension of the previous two, like
Oh
of
yeah. Hmm.
Morgann and Elle-Máijá.
Hmm.
So we move on to Steve and searching for Terry Punchout, and he highlighted the humor of the book in all of its many forms and the power to change ourselves, being our own power, not depending on other people to change,
Hmm.
which I like. That was he brought in like something new, a new argument for his book. So, what
And
did you
then,
think?
well, yeah, not so much what Steve said, but I will say the next thing when Josh sort of talked about it, when he said sometimes returning home feels like failure, and I just want to do a shout out and say I that's one of the things I loved about this book because I returned after 30 years, and some days I look around and I go, I'm in the same freaking place I grew up like as a child. I look at all the same, well, no, it's all changed, but I look at things and I go, God, I'm right back here again. So I just that resonated with me when he said it. So I just thought I
Yeah,
just had to say that. The other thing he said was his criticism was he was like watching someone else's story or something the way he said it, and I was like, dude, that's what every isn't that what every book is? Is like we're
yeah,
watching someone else anyway. So I felt like his criticism, and really how hardcore can you criticize this book? It's a feel good book, and it you know what I mean?
yeah,
Whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
that just kind of made me laugh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He didn't. You could tell that he liked the book. He liked the
Yeah,
book. Yeah.
yeah,
That's when Steve then admitted that he has a personal bias and that not only does he like the hockey, but he loves the East Coast, which I get to. I mean, obviously, I'm from the East Coast, so there's a special. I feel a special connection to almost like any book that I read that's set on the East Coast. So
yeah,
I get having a geographical connection to a book,
yeah.
which I think a lot of us do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tegan wanted more emotional. I think I put down content. Like I think she just wanted more from Adam, the character.
I had written down because I she said something and I didn't catch it, but I wrote
Mhm.
emotional life. like
Okay,
more of
that
his
makes more.
emotional life or something.
Yeah,
And the only thing is, the thing I liked about that him not being able to is that was the whole point. He had repressed everything about his past, his father, his coming back. Everything was just so. There's no way he had the capacity to be a different person than he was. He was
yeah,
returning after all of this time. So I kind of thought that argument wasn't quite valid. And Steve ended up saying, yeah, that he wanted more, these big questions. He wanted more kind of from the book as well, but that just isn't what the book is. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I will
no
say
go.
this. When Elle-Máijá, I love that she said it was a page turner. She's a big hockey fan. And then I guess her first or a relationship was with somebody from the hockey
Yeah,
league or something. I thought that was cute. And she looked almost embarrassed that she said it, but that was
yeah,
cute. And then she said what she didn't like was the toxic masculinity and the way the women were portrayed and how they were always there, just how men viewed them, obviously in a way that is not, the way we want. So I thought, isn't that funny? I guess that part I glossed over that part because I didn't really remember it. You read it more recently than I did. Did you feel that way about the female
yeah,
characters?
yeah. When she said it, I was like, oh yeah, that is true. Like all of the female characters, I only can think of three, right? So there was his mom,
Yeah.
Adam's mom, who is dead,
Yeah.
who has passed away. So she was almost like a stereotype, like the classic perfect dead mom. Ugh, I hate
Yes.
saying that, but that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's what she
Mhm.
was. And then there was Jennifer, who was his a woman that he dated in high school that he starts dating again as the
Right.
son. And then there was, I'm going to call her the mean popular girl because that's what she was,
Yeah.
who was in like a really toxic relationship with
Oh, that's right.
kind of his best friend who was an ass as well.
Yeah.
And she was just very like, she was just the mean girl. And she
Yeah.
continued to be the mean girl the whole time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's a valid argument. Not, I don't want to say against the book, but or critique of the book. Yeah.
Critique. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. My last thing I have written down for this is that Steve, I think, is the king of the one-liner this season. Like he
Mhm.
is. So because when a lot of the critique against the book was the open ending too, that they didn't really or that they felt they wanted more, they weren't sure where the book was going, how it was going to end, what was going to happen in the future and stuff like this. And he's like, there's a reason people tie things up with a bow, because it looks nice sometimes. I'm like,
I know because his quote yesterday was the squeezing of the juice or something, whatever. I
yeah,
love that quote. That was a brilliant
yeah.
quote, actually.
So
That
I'm
was hilarious.
like, I like Steve. He
Yeah,
lightens it, gives it a little levity
absolutely.
at times. Yeah.
And I also liked how Elle-Máijá yesterday, in her wrap up, she made that comment about the man who had passed
George.
away in their
Yes.
community. Yeah. And then today she talked about how Billy-Ray Belcourt had dedicated to his cookum. And I just really like that she keeps showing us community,
Yeah.
right? In that way, right at the end. That's like the last little punch she gives you, even though they voted her off,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But the thing that made me laugh was when Allie said, yeah, after Foe got voted off, we heard from a lot of people who were upset. And then he said, who will we upset today? And I'm like, God damn it, you're upsetting me again.
I have that. I have that there too, as a little Ali highlight. I was like, "That's good," because aside from in their closing remarks, Elle-Máijá, I think, was the highlight of
Yeah.
when she talked about Billy Ray's grandmother, his
Hmm.
kokum. Yeah. And then we move on to the vote, and as we've said, we said goodbye to a minor chorus. Oh, I will point out that I have it here on my notes too. When they were discussing a minor chorus, because it was essentially, we did not hear from Steve for his votes because he voted against. So Morgann voted against a minor chorus, which I was not surprised at.
Right.
Josh as well. But then I
Yeah.
checked, he voted against a minor chorus yesterday too.
Hmm.
And then Steve against a minor chorus. But in round 3, which was when we discussed a minor chorus, I don't think we got to hear from Steve at all. Like they ran out of time. It was mostly Elle-Máijá and Morgann going back and forth.
Right, because we didn't even get Tegan
Yeah.
in that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's too bad because Elle-Máijá didn't get to address whatever Steve's thoughts were around a minor chorus. She didn't get to address that, although she addressed so much that I can't see how
Hmm.
she wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So, and then Tegan and Elle-Máijá both went against It's Different This Time, and there we go. A minor chorus says goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Oof.
just have written down here, they are voting against difficult books.
Hmm. And if you think about it too, both Steve and Josh have said they've been brought back to reading, really.
Yeah.
So these are people who aren't who obviously up till now they would not call themselves readers. Tegan went
Yeah.
in and talked about how they, had in their house they have, they people walk out with
Yeah.
books or whatever. So we have the three women who are readers, but the two men who have traditionally
Yeah.
not been.
They're still training their reader brains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And I love that they're both, because we've heard this before from other defenders where they are on Canada Reads and then they say, "Oh, it's really reignited my love of reading and everything." So yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, so do we want to say what we think will happen tomorrow?
I don't.
Okay.
Because, well, no, we can't. I know I'm afraid if I put it out there, I'm going to be wrong. I thought the romance was going to go today. Like, I was pretty confident that it was going to go today.
Same here.
So I would like to put it out there that I think it will go tomorrow, because we're left with The Cure for Drowning, Searching for Terry Punchout, and It's Different This Time. So our predictions that we made months ago are wrong.
Oh
Because
my
we
God.
predicted,
Yeah.
or I think we both did. We thought a minor chorus and The Cure for Drowning would be the last two standing.
Correct.
Yeah. What book do you think Morgann is going to target tomorrow? And then do you have a prediction?
Honestly, I think okay, I'll tell you the truth. I think there's a strategy here. I
Yeah.
think she's going to go after A Cure for Drowning because that's the one, I think that's the one that a lot of people thought would just win this thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think she's being very strategic because, to be honest with you, I feel like she has to be because, no offense, I haven't read it, but I just think I think her eye is on the prize and she just wants to get
Yes.
to the end and she wants to make her point that a non-Canadian, well, I won't say non-Canadian, a non-Canada set story romance can win Canada Reads. So
Yeah.
I think she's going after, I think she's going to go after Cure for Drowning because maybe she feels like she has a better shot against Terry Punchout.
Yeah. And months ago, in like this, in the Canada Reads competition thing, I heard an interview with her in which she said that she is very competitive. And I was like, everyone says that.
Oh, yeah.
But she was like, I am competitive. And I'm like, actually, she is showing how competitive she is. Like, she is
Mm-hmm.
determined. In the debriefing, they call it. So if you watch on YouTube, there's an extra 5 minutes, and in which they basically, as Ali said, and I love this too, he said to Elle-Máijá, we're giving you a whole 30 more seconds to talk about a minor chorus. And I was like, I love Ali. But
Yeah.
Steve at the end, so Tegan said how surprised she was to see a minor chorus go, because she's like, it's an important book and she thought it would go to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Steve essentially said the same thing. He said that Elle-Máijá and the book are formidable. And then he admitted to a bit of a strategy in the vote. Like, I can't remember
Yes.
exactly what he said, but he said something that he admitted that there is a bit of strategy going on in the vote, which I can't remember anyone ever really admitting to that. Like, people like to think that they vote by emotion rather than a strategy. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and here's the other thing. I think A Cure for Drowning potentially is the one that could go out. And here's why. Because I don't think Tegan is as strong a defender of her book.
Mm.
I don't know whether it's just that, because even like with her wrap up today, she talked about when you come to my house and I'm a reader. And I'm like, girl, why are you wasting time talking about that stuff? Like,
Yeah.
you know, get to the point of why your book is still standing. So I was really surprised by that, and I feel like they just aren't a strong enough defend, because think about it. You've got Morgann, who you said now, I think she's going to be strategic and
Yep.
cutthroat. Steve is kind of this likable guy who just has these punchy lines that
Yeah. He's doing
resonate
it.
with you.
He's doing it.
And then you have Tegan, who I think is not as strong as I thought she would be.
Yep.
So I'm going to say, seriously, I'm thinking Cure for Drowning's going out.
Yeah. I think you could be right, because even in their closing statements, I have written down, like, Morgann, that she addressed all the criticisms that her book faced today in that final 30 seconds that they give them as well.
Exactly.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she is a fierce competitor, and I don't know if the others are up to it, because we'll look at obviously Tegan. Let's say that she goes against the romance again.
Mm-hmm.
Elle-Máijá, based on today's vote, I think she'll go against the romance as well.
Mm-hmm.
Morgann, if we put her against the Cure for Drowning. Josh, so Steve is not going to go against his book, so he's going to go against. He could go against the romance. I don't know.
I don't know.
And then Josh, I don't know where Josh, because the first 2 days he went against a minor chorus, so we haven't seen any.
Because the only two I feel confident would not vote against. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, yeah, you're right. Wait a minute. Yeah, Elle-Máijá obviously would never vote off Cure for Drowning.
No, I don't think so.
But the criticism, I mean, I think you're right, though, because the criticism that Morgann has faced, she is snappy about, keeps putting those points about, yes, it's true about this, but blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And the other ones are not necessarily doing it in the same way. I still think a Cure for Drowning's going out. I don't know how the vote will be, but I just feel like, oh my God, I am kidding. I can't even believe this. I am so stressed. Now I need Quin to come in and go, stop being so dramatic.
Stop being so dramatic, Rebecca. You're being a lot. You are being a lot. Oh, it's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're good. We're wrapping it up. Send us your thoughts. What did you think of today's votes? What are your predictions for day 3? Let us know. And until then, happy reading, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style, and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.